Welcome to Twisted Liquid RC Boats. This episode of Twisted Liquid RC Boats is proudly brought to you by Slycat Racing. For all your RC boat needs, slycatracing.com. Good day, everybody. Welcome back to Twisted Liquid RC Boats and the continuation in our Zippkits A-Box Crackerbox build. Today, guys, we're going to concentrate on one simple step in a review style video. We're going to concentrate on getting your drive cable set up in your boat. If you guys joined us in the last couple episodes here, you notice in the last one that I done on the A-Box Crackerbox, we got the stuffing box and the stuffing tube set up in the boat. I officially determined all of that and got it done. I'm going to review the last few things that I didn't show you guys in the last episode. And everything that we're doing today, we're following the steps like they call it in the manual. Now guys, before you do the drive line in this boat, you're going to have to pick yourself up some simple gas RC style boat parts. You're going to need a 24-inch length of cable, 1/4-inch size with a stub shaft. You're going to need yourself a 1/4-inch drive dog. You got your prop and your prop knot. You're going to need a 1/4-inch collet to fit your Zenoa engine. And I'm using a stuffing tube clamp, which is 11/32 size, and clamps a 5/16 tubing into that 11/32 tube. And it's a very easy setup like I showed you. Now, you're going to have to cut your drive cable. And there's many ways that you could do it. But before I describe how I set everything up, I'm going to tell you guys that the way I find the best for cutting these 1/4-inch drive cables is to use an angle grinder like you see. Now, I don't do it in the house because it is going to send a few sparks flying from the disc when it's spinning and cutting. And I usually go outdoors and I do it. But a clean, narrow zip wheel on your angle grinder will give you a perfect cut at a 90-degree angle if you take your time and you do use it properly. After you have your cut made on your cable, if you want to leave your grinder spinning and take your time and put a light chamfer around the edge of your cable. Now I'm only meaning a very small amount, about maybe 1/8 of an inch back, just a light little chamfer on it. It will make it so much easier sliding into your collet when you put everything together. So I suggest you do that. Having said what I've said in the intro, let's reposition the camera and let's review a few things on how we set up the drive cable in the A-Box Crackerbox. Okay guys, before I get into showing you how I set the cable up, I'm just going to review two little things that I done off camera that you never seen. I did take the time to drill 2 holes into my tube. Now before I put my stuffing tube in, for the last time, the final time, I put it up through the stuffing box and I drilled 1 hole straight down through my clamp. Now that's gone down through both tubes. So you could actually lubricate the drive line through this tiny brass nipple if you wanted to. After I had the hole drilled that went through both tubes, I slid the stuffing tube back out and I drilled another small hole right here in order to have a solder point. I mentioned this in the last episode also. When we're completely finished, we're just going to add a small dab of solder right here to hold the 2 tubes together. Now guys, this is essentially acting as double points of holding these stuffing box and stuffing tube together in this boat. And I did put the clamp on this side, which means that it's going to be in the hull forever in its location unless you take the stuffing box out. Now it's not affecting anything. there is one part that I would have liked to have used on this driveline. And while I'm here showing you this, I'm going to explain it to you. I bought a shaft saver, and I wanted to run a shaft saver on the boat. Now, a shaft saver basically clamps your cable and saves your prop from disappearing on you if your collet comes loose for any reason. Now, with the way the boat is set up with the gizmo mounts and the collet right now, when I'm sliding the shaft in and getting ready to put it together, I do not have room to install the shaft saver. Now, a simple fix for this is I ordered a regular Zenoa large style collet. Now, you can get these collets in a shorter size, and I'm going to order a shorter collet eventually and put on this boat. The reason being is, when I'm installing the cable, like you seen me just do, and tightening down the collet itself, I got room for the shaft saver to sit there, but I don't have room to put it all together when I'm doing it and installing it. And it's mainly because the positioning of this piece of wood. Not a big deal. Get a shorter collet, then I'll be able to run my shaft saver. It's just a simple problem of parts going together, and when you get everything together for the final time, you realize you're going to have to change something to make it perfect like you want it. A shaft saver is a very cheap thing to buy, and I suggest running it. I am going to test run the boat without one. I'm going to use that collet. I'm not going to have a shaft saver there, and I'm going to take the chance on running the boat. But with the way I'm going to do it, if he came loose, I'm going to lose my prop and my cable right out the back of my boat. And I don't want that to happen. So I'll probably just put a dab of Loctite on it to hold it for the first run. But like I say, guys, I should have put a shorter collet in here on this engine, and I'm going to eventually. Now, the cable ended up working out to 17 inches long. And right at the moment, it is into the collet about 5/8 of an inch. I would have liked to have had it in about 3/4 of an inch. It should be approximately 1/8 of an inch longer to me. But it's got lots of clamping in the collet. It works fine. Everything is spinning free. Everything is working fine. If I pull the cord, you're going to turn a prop down through the driveline. And I only got that hand tight. So I'm going to get a shorter collet and put on this engine so I can use a shaft saver. Let's move to the tail of the boat, and I'll show you setting up the cable on the back. Okay, guys, in order to determine the overall length of the cable before you cut it, this is how I done it, and it's a pretty simple procedure. I had my stuffing tube in place, knew everything was fine. I slid the cable up through it till it touched all the way into the collet as far as it could go. I then took my prop, my drive dog, and the prop nut, and I laid it onto my shaft and got it so that I had approximately most of my threads exposed, put my nut on, and I set my drive dog. Now, I tightened my drive dog down a couple times just to put a tiny mark in the stub shaft. Just snug it, loosen it, snug it a little more, loosen it, and get a little mark on the stub shaft where you want it to sit. I took a measurement from the back of the drive dog to the front of the strut, and that gave me a distance that I had to trim off of the cable. Now, it worked out to 7 inches, but I wish that I'd have been 1/8 of an inch longer. It would have been perfect. I would have had 3/4 going into my collet instead of the 5/8 of an inch that I got. I've got my 1/4 inch gap right here set up perfect for when the boat's running. I'm going to loosen the grub screw and show you why I put the little mark in it by tightening it down and loosening it and tightening it. I have a very small flat put in the stub shaft section of the shaft itself. Now this is for my grub screw in my drive dog to go against. And it's going to prevent my drive dog from moving on my shaft. Once it locks down, it's in that little groove. It can't go anywhere. Can't go forward, can't go backwards, can't move. It's locked in position. Now to get that little indent or groove in that shaft, all I used was a flat file. And I merely filed in a straight direction like you see till I had a nice little flat position in there. Deburred it with a little bit of 2000 sandpaper. Everything is perfect. Got a nice little flat. It's probably down, I'd say, about 1/8 of an inch into the shaft. Now guys, I've got a stuffing tube put in this boat that's 5/16 in size with an 0.14 wall thickness. It slides right through this strut perfectly. The cable slides up through it nice. But if you just leave the stuffing tube as all that's inside of here, you are going to have an excessive amount of play. This cable is slightly smaller than that tube. Now the cure to this is a Speedmaster bushing. And what I have done is I have a Speedmaster brass bushing slid into this. It's gone into the stuffing tube and it's a nice fit around the strut itself. And then when I put my cable up through, it eliminates all play whatsoever and it gives me a perfect setup for everything. Now guys, we got a nice little drive line put in this boat. It's going to spin real freely. It's going to work well. It's going to be good. And I'm happy with how it all turned out. Except, I wish I'd have left 1/8 of an inch more on my cable. If I make a mistake here, I'll tell you. I'm not afraid to. And I would have had to like it 1/8 of an inch longer. So guys, if you do build this boat with the type setup that I got here, with different mounts and everything, and that's just pulling the cord, we got a very free spinning drive line in our boat. I think that engine's going to be able to turn it. If you do want an overall length, I cut my cable to 17 inches. But I know I got enough distance into my collet that I'm good. I got my 1/4 inch gap I need here. It's not the end of the world. But I will admit to you guys, I would have liked to have had it 1/8 more of an inch in the collet. And to me, that cable would have been perfect at about 17 1/8 or 17 1/4. If you had to trim and sand it or file it or grind it around to perfect size from there, that would have been nice. Now that's the measurements, the way they worked out for my setup. If you want to use these measurements, I want you to factor in, I'm using different mounts besides Zippkits. I'm using a collet from Sly Cat Racing. I'm using a Speedmaster strut and bushing. I want you to factor in that there's differences over the Zippkits parts being used here. And maybe it will be a different measurement if you use Zippkits hardware. But mine turned out to be 17 inches. I would have loved to have had it 17 1/4 and trimmed it down from there. I guess you learn as you go, don't you? Let's reposition the camera and conclude all this today. Okay guys, I hope this review style video shows you how I set the cable up in my Zippkits A-Box Crackerbox. It's not a hard job to do. Like I said to you guys so many times, measure twice, cut once. If you gotta triple check your measurements, do so. You don't want to waste a cable by cutting too much off of it. It's better to leave it a tiny bit longer and slowly trim it down if you got to get it to the exact size you want. I may run a little Teflon washer in my 1/4 inch gap right there, just for a little bit of added security. When these engines are running and get spinning at high RPM, These cables do want to pull towards the front of the boat with the revolution and spinning of them. So factor in having a 1/4 inch gap back here at your strut. Try and have it so your cable is at least 3/4 of an inch into your collet for good clamping. You know how I cut them with an angle grinder? If you're using this tool, I want you to be careful. I want you to wear hand protection. I want you to wear eye protection. Flying sparks, you can get metal in your eyes very easily. Believe me, I've done that in a lifetime. And you don't want to have to go to the doctor and get any metal removed from your eye if you don't have to. Take my advice on that. So I wanted you guys to see how I got the cable in the boat and everything set up. Right now when I pull that cord, I got the freest spinning drive line in this boat. The only thing that's left to do to complete the whole drive line is to just solder the 2 tubes together. So that's how I got the drive cable set up in the boat on the Zippkits A-Box Crackerbox. I can't thank you guys enough for watching the channel. We've only got a couple episodes left to finish most of the rigging on this boat, guys. I got a review installing this skeg with you. I got a review doing the transom hardware with you. They're going to be review style videos. And once we get that done and the rest of our little bit of assembly done, we're going to have to go and do a maiden voyage. Now before I do go, you've seen me pre-fitting a lot of parts as I was building the boat. You know, if you're following this build series, that I'm using a combination of parts that I want to use. I'm not just taking off-the-shelf stuff that exactly fits. I'm building the boat my way. Guys, I got some lucky on the exhaust. I done all my exhaust work without the deck on, as you know. And when I looked after I put the pipe in for the first time with the deck on, the tongues on, everything done, I just got an 1/8 of an inch clearance around everything. The bulkhead, the grab rail, the top deck, the tongue here, the tongue there. So sometimes when you're building, you do get a little bit lucky. And making that pipe fit that boat, I got lucky. Because here's something I should have factored in. I should have factored in the tongue placements. And I didn't. Because I didn't have the deck on yet. But it worked out in the long run. But the reason I'm showing you is because I wanted you to see. Try and think a step ahead. Always try and think a step ahead doing this hobby. If you're going to make something fit right here, you got to make it fit back here perfectly, because you got to bring it all together. So always try and think a step ahead when you're doing it. Can't thank you enough for watching the channel. Really appreciate your channel participation. I want you guys out there to have yourself a really good day. We're going to get our other couple videos done. We're going to finish this boat off and take it to water. Take care of yourselves, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching, everyone. Feel free to like and subscribe. Take care and stay safe.